Hello everyone, this time I'm going to be quickly touching on why Omegamon doesn't mean anything anymore when he appears. Of course, I'm honestly fully prepared to eat my own words on this one, as when this video comes out, it'll be a few hours prior to the finale of Colon airing, so hopefully episode 67 can prove me completely wrong on this one. And of course, as I always say in all my other Digimon Adventure Colon videos, if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments, that's fine. This is just my personal feelings on Adventure Colon. I'm still enjoying the series, but I have my own criticisms of the series, and that's fine if you don't agree with me. Let me know in the comments, we can have a discussion about it. Oh, and also power to you if you're enjoying it. I just have some issues with this show, and maybe I'll even convince you on my way. Probably not, I don't know. But in any case, so this is something that I've noticed when I was rewatching a War Game and Diaboromon's counterattack last night. And that's that Omegamon gradually felt less and less earned as the series has gone on in terms of the entire franchise. So in our War Game, we have Taichi and Yamato, Koshiro and Takeru fighting against Diaboromon on the internet, and this is also the first time that they've seen their Digimon partners in quite a while, like about a year or so. So they have just reunited with their Digimon, and they then have to obviously fight to save the digital world and the real world again. And then at the end of the movie, we have Taichi and Yamato basically being faced with the idea that their Digimon could actually die, and are basically dying. We have Wargreymon and Metal Garurumon kind of like hunched over, not moving, their eyes aren't lit up. And this causes a miracle to happen where Taichi and Yamato are able to actually go through their computer screens into the internet and are able to sort of revive Wargreymon and Metal Garurumon. And along with the emails from the children across the world who are watching their battle with Diaboromon, they are able to do a once-in-a-lifetime miracle evolution to Omegamon. And then later on, when this is mentioned in 02, when we start to get involved with jogressing or DNA digivolution, we sort of mention that this is like a one-off fusion that never happened again. And then in Diaboromon's counterattack, which takes place about a year after 02, so in about the year 2003, we have Taichi and Yamato able to just summon Omegamon on demand, basically. And then, of course, we have that similar sort of thing happen in Tri, but Tri does make it at least like Taichi and Yamato actually have to have a strong bond in order to get their Digimon to become Omegamon. But then we have in Colon, where in episode, and also spoilers for Adventure Colon if you haven't seen it yet, I guess I'm not sure why you'd be halfway through this video if you hadn't, but yeah, spoilers for the entirety of Adventure Colon, is in episode 2, we just get Omegamon. And it's very much like the kids don't know what's happening, the Digimon don't really recognize what's happening, and then we later on sort of get hinted at the fact that their Digimon don't really have a memory of this happening. This is actually an Omegamon from a previous life that has they have some sort of like memories from a before time from their ancestors who are also them, but it's not really explicitly stated, and that's fine. And then in episode 18, we're able to just get Omegamon again out of nowhere to defeat another Digimon when the rest of the team are basically incapacitated. And then in episode 66, after a few episodes of basically foreshadowing the existence of Omegamon, which is weird because remember, we've already seen Omegamon twice before this, they act like this is some miracle that has happened, this is a once-off evolution. But then we have Omegamon who has just appeared in episodes 2 and episode 18, and I guess the show's trying to hope that we forgot about that because all of a sudden we have Omegamon again. And it's not like a special, like, it's not merciful mode, even though, like, it was made by all the hopes and dreams of the children across the world and the Digimon across the world and the other human partners in the show. No, it was just, it's just the same Omegamon. It's not merciful mode. It's not even Alter S, which was, I'm sure episode 67 will have Alter S on it, on the basis that he was in the Digivice toy, and we have Blitzgreymon and Crest Garurumon, and they jogress to get Alter S. So that's something that's probably going to happen, and I'm going to be very surprised if it doesn't. But on the other hand, episode 67 could use with a bit of like a second part. Like in the first part, Omegamon beats Abandonmon really quickly, really easily, like how the kids beat Apocalymon in the last episode of the original adventure. So then they would have the second half of episode 67 to address like the characters and their own personalities. For example, like Koshiro has mentioned a few times there being something with his home life. And if you've watched the original adventure, you know that he is adopted. And Adventure Colin has sort of hinted at the fact that he may be adopted a few times, but they've never actually mentioned it. Like, they've never sort of explicitly mentioned it, they've only sort of hinted at it. So I would expect the end of episode 67 to have, like, a moment where they all sort of have, like, this self-development speech. But if we have Alter-S happen in that episode, I don't think we're going to be having time for any speeches from the kids that are like, yes, I'm adopted and I'm going to accept that about myself. Like, I don't think they're going to be able to do that very well if we have time to fight as Omegamon, lose as Omegamon, and then have Alter-S happen, unless the speeches cause Alter-S to happen, which sounds fairly Digimon, to be honest. So anyway, in that case, and another semi sort of disclaimer, I'm not saying that Adventure is this perfect piece of media that is flawless. There are lots of problems with the original Adventure. There are other seasons of Digimon that are much better than Adventure, but when I'm comparing these two, sometimes they do have similarities and other times they don't. And in this case, with their use of Omegamon, it just feels like Omegamon does not mean anything in this series. It felt like it meant a lot more in our wargame. And while the counterattack of Diaboromon did have them able to basically summon Omegamon on demand, instead of it being this once-off, once-in-a-lifetime miracle, they also lose with Omegamon, so it's not too much of a big deal. But the fact that every time Omegamon has shown up in Adventure Colon, he's won. And he's just been sort of like a Digimon that showed up, and then he showed up twice, and it sometimes makes no sense that he hasn't shown up more than that whenever they've been in harder situations. So it just feels like episode 66, and I'm hopefully not episode 67, did try to be too much like our wargame by pretending that Omegamon was this big special miracle, but it never actually ended up feeling as special because we've already had him happen twice, and it just made him feel like, oh, there's Omegamon again, don't know why we were foreshadowing some miracle when it's just Omegamon. But yeah, those are my quick thoughts on why Omegamon doesn't feel as special as he used to, and why I'm getting kind of bored of having him show up, and I'd really wish that everyone else got their Jogress evolutions, like, I don't know, Hoemon and Rosemon Jogress to be Ceresmon or something. I don't know, I think that would be cool. And we have like Slash Angemon, or I don't know, something that's just different. Something that's not Omegamon being a miracle. But in any case, maybe it's because when I first watched our wargame, I was a child, and now I'm an adult watching this. That could be everything to do with it. But when I watched our wargame last night, I was like, wow, this is actually good. Like, Omegamon seems like this once-off big attack. Like this big final, like, yes, they win sort of thing. And Adventure Colon, I'm not really getting that feeling. But anyway, let me know what you think, and I hope that I enjoy episode 67, and if I don't, that's fine. I'm sure that someone will, and let me know what you think about everything in the comments, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye!